especially where we stand right now, where we don't really know where the election's going to end up. Maybe just some last words that you would like to leave for the audience.
Everyone should vote.
Yes, definitely.
I think one common mistake that people are making in their conversations about November 3rd is they're thinking, well, once November 3rd happens, if the candidate that I'm voting for gets elected, then we finally are back to the way things, back to normal. And that is just not true. We have an enormous amount of work to do, no matter who wins, and kind of working to define, as Dr. Yu was suggesting, sort of redefine the social contract, repitch the social contract, which I think is a great turn of phrase. I'm going to steal that. But cite you, of course, always. It's going to be important to think again, and creatively about how we can, the rifts and the divisions in the country have never been clearer, and now working towards finding the way to bridge those and make progress on the goals that we all share is going to be more clearly defined in some ways, but also more important than ever. So that's what I'd have to say about that.
Definitely, yes.
Well, I'll jump in straight after that. Thank you. I think we need to face up to the fact that we are in a battle, what I call a battle over reality. I think on the conservative side, but also even the alt-right sphere, also the online sphere, there's a sense that liberals cannot admit to what we've just been talking about, that there is that fight. They can't admit to certain ugly aspects of political life. And so that's where you have all that talk about virtue signaling and basically accusing liberal elites in the establishment for not seeing things as they are. And I think if we're able to admit that it is a battle in which we humanize the political opponent, but he or she or they are an opponent, I think that is very powerful. And I think that, so again, in my experience when I was in Charlottesville, people around me, everybody was a Trump supporter, from our son's nanny to the kindergarten teacher to my students. So really a wide range of people who I wouldn't necessarily have felt were bad people. They can support Trump for a variety of reasons. And I think what really drives people mad is if you tell them your perception of reality is wrong, or your perception of reality, what you perceive as threat, what you perceive as battle, what you perceive as worth fighting and dying for is not real. I think that drives people mad. And so I think we need really a massive paradigm shift in how we speak about this. And it starts adopting Professor Milborn's perspective. We have to have that holistic view. It starts from childhood. It goes through all layers of society. And I really echo that point that Dr. Jutke made, that after the election, there's still a lot of work to do. And also I'd like to remind people, the Obama presidencies, the two terms, they were full of illiberal policies. I mean, the NSA data breach happened. We had drone strikes. The executive power was expansive. Because you had a question, I remember, about emotion, and I was thinking, the Obama presidency was highly emotional. I was highly emotional about it as a woman of color. I felt deeply, deeply about it. There was so much symbolic, emotional energy in it. But we need to think not just what went wrong during Trump, but also what is the connection from illiberal policies and people's illiberal views that emerged in the Obama years and before that and past 9/11 and are here now. So we shouldn't just see sort of Trump as a blip, but we need to think about this from a bigger perspective.
So yeah, I guess in my closing pitch, I was going to come out in favor of democracy. A bold thing, but it's a fragile creature. And one of our survey items said, if you had a choice between democracy or security, which would you pick? And like 65% of the Trump supporters said security without even hesitating. But I also wondered about liberals. If the item had read something like, if the choice is between democracy or policies that would improve the health of the planet, which would you pick? And I think a lot of liberals would probably turn their back on democracy. And so that's understandable, but also I think very dangerous. And I think we need to not just be situational Democrats, small d. We need to recognize that sometimes we're not going to get the policies we want, but that we still need to have a democracy. And if these last 3 years have taught us anything, it's that we can't just be complacent about this and think it's all going to work out. Democracy really takes some active support, and I think we need to provide that.